Are we seeing another case where we're seeing military officers possibly cover for other military officers when they are having misconduct? This has come to the attention of myself, as many people have wrote me about this from a Master at Arms page. If you don't understand what a Master at Arms is, these are the guys that are doing security, things like that, checking IDs as you come on and off military installations. And it does look like a security officer has been caught in the crossfires, as some information has been put out there as he's been recently arrested. Now, this first came to light when it looks like there was a member of the Master at Arms Facebook page out there posting everywhere, because these are the kind of leaders I had in the military. This was my old security officer. There were countless complaints about him, but the Navy did nothing. It took civilian police to do something. And it says full name, Charles Milton Cranston Jr. Booking date was on November 18th, 2021 at 8:05 p.m. He's over at Jail West over at Henrico General District, which is over in Virginia. And it says charge description here is trafficking. Now, I have no context as far as the complaints of previous issues, but I will say there were some sentiments of people in the comments talking about where they were like, yeah, this guy did have their issues. It does look like the administrators of that Facebook page went so far to take this post down because, well, they thought it was appropriate. Response from one of the Master at Arms kind of goes off the hinges and says this. He says, since I was silenced before I could respond, I'll throw it right here so no one gets it twisted. Have you ever stood gate? LOL. Trash talk is what Master at Arms do. It's part of the job. Police our own, right? Well, let it be known that effing around with little kids will result in you being dragged and disowned by the Master at Arms community. It will not be tolerated. I'm simply adding incentive to not be a piece of blank while claiming to be held to the same standard as the rest of us. If this was a command, we would all be sitting in additional training right now being told what a piece of S this guy is, and have to sit through a PowerPoint about how S trafficking is wrong until your eyes bleed. So maybe it isn't unprofessional, and you are simply trying to have us conduct ourselves in a manner that literally has us keep our mouths shut in the name of saving face for a slimy piece of S. I, for one, will not tolerate such behavior, and I will not keep quiet when it's done right in front of all of our faces. Silence is indifference. Indifference is accessory. To not condemn such actions is to advocate. So telling everyone to stay silent in a community such as this is to make us all accessory to not holding, quotations, one of our own accountable for such unacceptable behavior. That's cancer to us all, and the reason this rate has become a joke. It isn't professional to keep your mouth shut. That sort of behavior is why no one trusts the government to begin with. So in summary, no sir, I will not keep my mouth shut. I will condemn this scum, and I will let it be known that I do not condone such disgusting behavior from anyone I call family. If you find the reason to penalize or remove me from the conversation, then it says more about you than it does about me. My conscience remains clear. Very respectfully, Master at Arms 3rd Class Petty Officer. Whoa, he went off the hinges on that. If this was directed at a commissioned officer, saying he will not listen or obey an order could be contempt, right? Puts him, in that idea of an eye for an eye does not make anything right. I'll tell you this is a very powerful message from somebody that is trying to uphold the Navy values, as many military members are trained on this on a yearly basis for general military training. I also want to confirm something about this. He mentions kids in this. I don't see anything involving kids specifically. It just says S trafficking. That could be ensued, obviously, because there are many children that do get put into these systems, but that's not being disclosed here. Now, I have been sent some direct messages as they've spoken with some of the administrators of this Facebook page, talking about why they did decide to take down these posts, and it looks like there is some contention that's going on here. I'm one of the admins of the page, and we debated what we should do with this issue. We take these allegations very seriously. At the same time, there is still a judicial process in place to prove guilt or innocence. As Master at Arms, regardless of how heinous the crime is, it's important to not forget there needs to be an investigation. Make no mistake, there will be zero tolerance for this if proven both personally and professionally. And then this gentleman says, so why take it down? And this is kind of out of order, but I'm still going to say you can kind of get the idea from this. It says, comments off now. And this person says, thanks. We just want to balance professionalism with respecting the judicial process. For the record, I'm an actual security officer, and we will forward, as in the past, any and all misconduct reported to us. I am replying to you as I respect how you feel, and you deserve to reply. Okay, but can you put the post back up? Literally stuff like this, and piss poor leadership is why I got out. Sweeping stuff under the rug, such a disservice. Now, the administrator does look like they kind of try and backpedal a little bit as they say this. Negativity, we wanted to reiterate there is a process in place. There is zero desire to make this go away. And the person says, so stop deleting it. And the administrator says, I'm being transparent. There is no sweeping this under the rug. There is no sweeping. Now I do ask for a favor. And this administrator says, if you know of any misconduct, please report it to us. We have forwarded misconduct before. We have a great track record. We are working on getting it posted. And this person says, thank you. I don't know if this actually did come back up. I was able to look at the page where it did look like it came back up. And as of making this video, I've tried to go back to that group. It looks like it's now shut off. There's no public viewing over there, so I'm not sure if that's a new change that's occurred, as this group has around 7,000 to 8,000 members. Now, the scary thing about this is all public information. His mugshot photo, why he was actually apprehended and taken into the station. It is all public knowledge that somebody, any service member can access if they were to look in the database. This is allowed in its Freedom of Information Act also as well. If this goes to court, we could obviously have people that are wanting to, I guess, know more about this, could access those records and find out what happened, as it is public information. Now, does that make it look bad for the fact that we're hearing from actual security officers that run this page about Master Arms maybe trying to take down this information in order to save face for another security officer? And I will say, on the same token, you have to understand this is a seasoned security officer. Per his LinkedIn, it looks like he's been in over almost 30 years at this point, looking at that public information that's out there. And also, he is a lieutenant commander, which is an 04 equivalent. Now, it does look like social media continues to be the level playing field that we're seeing as history unfolds consistently across the board. Fighting information being put out there is honestly probably going to be one of the worst takes you could ever have on this, and that's been proven in two circumstances I can talk about here that have been made very public. First off, with Stuart Scheller, obviously asking for accountability up and down the chain of command and of fellow military officers, and calling it as it is. Now, this has also been noted as there was a Marine Corps public affairs officer that was covering a case of a reconnaissance Marine that was an officer that had domestic issues, I'll keep it at that, which he was trying to make a truthful post about it, but was pressured by other superior officers to not make it as correct or accurate and making a more broad statement to try and save face or cover for that officer. There are two courts. There's the court of public opinion, then there is the official court. We saw that, for example, with the Kyle Rittenhouse case for the past year. There were so many different things that could be brought up or made to be one way or another, and obviously that could taint the way someone is viewed until their official day in court. And this can highly change the narrative, and once damage is done, can be difficult to undo. Now, this can come from two different sides of the story. Obviously, we've talked about the security officer could be covering for this security officer to not make his face known or public, while at the same time, I also have to have equal criticism where it did look like there were sentiments from Master Arms that did maybe not like this gentleman as well, and say that they were maybe being malicious, but I don't know the full story, and I do agree this person should have their day in court, but I also agree that this is public information and should be available if someone posts it, because I am also somebody that definitely believes in freedom of speech and being able to talk about information that is publicly available. Any of these people, whenever there's an investigation happening, the Marine Corps, the Navy, whoever can make a statement, investigation is under progress, for a blank statement. And obviously that could bring some negative attention as well. And I understand that's not a very pleasant thing, that he's actually going to face civilian punishment and military punishment under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Obviously, him being a security officer is very well aware that he is facing some serious charges as well. So this brings me to the question for you guys. What do you guys think about this? Do you think that it is appropriate to create a barrier for enlisted or junior service members, even on the officer side, to not hear about these situations and kind of save face until there is an actual verdict that does take place? Or do you think that it's important that we see these cases and scenarios play out, as they can be learning situations for military members, and at the same time creating a culture of accountability, as you saw from that Master at Arms third class that is out there saying he wasn't going to stand for this and he would voice his opinion to hold others accountable? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, because this does bring a slippery slope, because military are expected to hold the traditions up and down the chain of command of ethics and morals and things like that that the military does stand by. If you guys like what we do here on this channel, you can always support over at patreon.com for special perks and benefits. On top of that, you can also support over at the YouTube join button below this video for special perks and benefits here on YouTube. As always, if you guys have questions about this or anything else, you can always hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.